Too hot. Too fucking hot today. Ugh. 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 Fucking yay, bro. Definitely retiring the other jacket. It's too fucking hot. Now I'm wearing my Summerfield military jackets. And, I'm still too hot and schwitzy over this shit. Oh, there we go. Ugh. 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 Ay. Get this charged up too. So that's a good idea to do. Oh, fucking hell. Ugh. Damn dog hair, my god. Ugh. So little doggo being a shed ball. I don't blame him either. It's just hot as shit today. That's for sure. Ugh. Oy. Alright. This one, okay. Get some tunes up and all that stuff. And that's not tune. That is a random short I don't care about. Ay. Get some Giljuanas I'll take care of and all that stuff. Man, oh man. What up, pal? I'll do some of that. And I kind of vibe with my doggo right about now. He is closed himself off in the laundry room, and for once, I don't blame him. There we go. There we go. Got some bowls around up here. Sweet. Get my little first smoke up for today. Let's see what the hell's going on for the news today. No, it's been kind of a out of the loop kind of thing for me just from yesterday and today. Guess I have a couple little bits of random bullshit, I guess. Do this real quick. Stuff probably is good. Ah, shit. Get a little foo-foo. Oh, so he locked himself in there. No wonder he isn't popping out. You goofball. Buddy, you goof. Goofy ass dog. You're silly, dude. You knew to go in there, but you just did not know how to fucking open the door there for a minute. Which I find to be bullshit. Like, I know this motherfucker certainly, was a dude that knows how to fucking open a door. I've seen him do it plenty of times. Yes, dog. Man, this dog is a silly boy. A silly little thing. My goodness gracious. My goodness gracious. Alright, let's see what's happening for today. Let's all see. There's a little tune. Let's see. Well, not really too much, but there's a few interesting little things. A few little interesting proclivities. Silly dog. Climate activists spray paint private jets mistakenly believe Taylor Swift's plane was at the airport. I mean, hey, honestly, a bunch of private, rich elite fucks, got their private jets all fucked up. Too bad, so sad. Leave the Jets. Wait, what are the comments on this? Leave the Jets alone. Spray paint Taylor. Why not both? Go paint all those dos, as far as I'm concerned. A shame they missed her. Well, the comments seem kind of neutral to the whole shenanigans. Because didn't some of these climate activists hit the Stonehenge? Which why? It's a fucking Stonehenge, my dude. I mean, what do you want? I mean, if you're going to do climate activism, I'm assuming hitting a Stonehenge is not exactly going to fucking win any hearts and minds or any favors. And also, I'm pretty sure, the whole Just Stop Oil movement is literally a psyop anyway. So, there were a few times you get some people that, do something in their name that might actually be kind of cool. The majority of them are likely just straight up psyops. Considering this new little, I guess, wave of Just Stop Oil activism, I'm not really too surprised. Let's see if I can find anything about that Stonehenge thing. Let's see what's said about that. Oh, actually, there's one right here. So our second Stonehenge rock has been painted, or has been colored orange. Damn. When orange becomes the new stone. Who said about orange being the new black? Now it's the new stone, dude. Do this real quick. Oh shit, you know what? I just realized I want to make sure that gate's closed. Hey, doggo. Oh, of course. Sneaker. Unless I caught him this time. Oh, what a little sneak, dude. Man, this dog, bro. I should have known. I had the door open, and I knew that gate was open. I should have known it was going to be a little fuck. Goofy asshole thing. Here, hold on. Oh shit, now my homeboy fucking Venom sent me up. Something about things being spicy. I'm doing this. Man, I gotta hit up and get him on here. Get him on here instead. Because this whole talking back and forth thing like this is going to be really annoying. Oh, come on. There we go. Good. Ugh. Man, it's like impossible to type and stem at the same time. And do a little stem. Oh, what we call a little stemming. Stemming. Aye. See if, like, you know, Bud pops in or whatever, because it's interesting and fucking little, whatchamacallit. Could dip in any time, FYI. Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, tell him about some spicy shit going down. Good spicy stuff, at least. I thought you said he ghosted the other one. This one I kind of want to keep private. Well, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to, like, tell me on here or whatever. Guess I introduced her to the group. Fair enough. Yeah, I still found it a little peculiar that, I was like, I'm like some quick access target for whatever the fuck from last night. I found that a little peculiar and odd. I mean, not really, but still. Been a little low key on the back of my mind. Okay, loaded. So FaceTime her for 8 hours. She's sleeping now. Damn, 8 fucking hours? Jesus. I don't think I could go on like that long and shit. You know what I mean? When it comes to like chatting with somebody. So that's all I can publicly say. Well, I mean, the details are all on you. So you say whatever you want or don't want. Vibe is very natural and free flowing. Well, I mean, that's how like any conversation should go. Is at least have just like a natural free flow to it. It's just like word just flows from one thing to another, shit like that. I mean, I mean, if anything, that's when there's actually like some sort of like a kind of a click and connection, commonality and stuff with somebody. So that's good. It's good shit right now. I definitely get some more bud today. I can't tell if my dog's in the laundry room or not. Unless I know he won't be sneaking around outside in the front. Oh, goof. Yeah, anyway. I have no topics. I actually have a couple. Was doing some different shit for earlier today. Kind of did a little bit of yard work, but honestly, due to the heat, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking like, just kind of rake a little bit, sweep some of this, dead leaves and shit, and just call it good. Fuck this. Then I, did a little clean around in here and stuff, and around the kitchen a little bit. Kind of reorganized a couple things. Reset my trap to where I have it in the high traffic area over here now, where I've seen this little fuck. So I'm hoping now that that little turd will eventually, get caught in there. Because I also have it set to where he shouldn't be able to get out whatsoever. And unless he climbs on top of the trap itself, because of how I have it set up, like, there's not going to be really much of a way for the little prick to go over there without having to go through there. So, got a couple little snicks in there. Found a couple crackers and like a little honey sauce packet. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to, take some of these crackers, get a little sauce of that, little honey in there, and just kind of make this little like honey cracker ball and just kind of stuck it in there. So at least a little treat for the little dude. And if he gets caught in there, then we're gonna show him off for a little bit. It'll be like, look at this little fucker. Look at this little bastard. I also found out that, like, there's been a lot of oranginess going on lately. a theme of the orange that's been going down. Especially with like some of this like climate protests and stuff, because Stonehenge got hit with some orange paint, and apparently a bunch of private jets, that Sky activists thought that Taylor Swift's jet was there, wasn't. So they just like end up spraying a whole shitload of private jets that wasn't hers. Which, that type of shit, whatever. The Stonehenge shit, I'm just like, what the fuck about? Like, I mean, out of all the things that, like, I mean, could hit, like, that's seriously, like, one of them. Like, out of all the things that, we can be going after, you know what I mean? It's like, because I'm not against, obviously, direct action, and activism and stuff, but like, oh my god. Like, there's obviously, like, things that you can hit and things that you don't have to, you know what I mean? And Stonehenge is, like, literally, like, one of the last things I'd be touching, frankly, because it's just like, why? Yeah, I'll do that for a second Stonehenge rock just got oranged. This fucking titled. A second Stonehenge rock just got oranged.
Stonehenge thing because it raises awareness for an issue everyone is aware of already. Stubbs, why would you defeat the point like that from the beginning? You know that there are a ton of people who either don't believe in climate change or who downplay its importance. Like you already know that. Why would you say that?
Yeah, everyone already knows about it. Like, come on. Like, I mean, why do you have to, like, do activism when it's stuff that we're aware about? I mean, God, bruh. Jeez. Come on, man. Why do we just, like, fucking quit, like, making it something that everyone has to, like, talk about all the time?
Why attack the companies when we can attack human history? Because the point isn't, like, there's no company you can attack to stop climate change. The point is to get people outraged so that people talk about it. Like, Just Stop Oil deliberately tries to anger people. They're not failing to earn sympathy. They're succeeding in earning ire. It's a deliberate strategy. Aren't big rocks allergic to orange paint, though? Listen, Just Stop Oil is actually just a game design team, and they took the yellow paint lesson a little bit too far. They're just trying to mark where the historical landmark is to people, During play testing, we found that 32% of play testers didn't notice that these were the rocks that were the historical monument. So we marked them with paint to sort of draw the eye to them. They're going for it, man.
Some lady is just trying to pull him away. Like, no, stop! Like, that dude is like twice your size, you little old granny lady. Like, you ain't gonna be stopping shit.
Stop hitting!
Stop it! Stop it, I say.
They look cooler now? Yeah, now they've got that, like, rusted aesthetic that everyone goes hard for these days.
I mean, it does kind of have, like, a rust look now. I mean, also, it literally looks like it would wash away in the rain by next day. Like, I mean, it's... Like, if they were going to hit it with paint and, like, have it make it long-lasting or something, they would be using something that isn't, like, some weird powdery smoke thing. I'm pretty sure this shit is just going to, wash away.
Yeah, just so people know, this is cornstarch. It'll wash away with the rain. Some people...
Oh, so this is just straight up cornstarch? Well, yeah, it literally will just wash away in the rain. Like, this is going to go away literally within a week, if that. Like, you can literally power wash these things, with, like, a light power washing, and that will wash off pretty much immediately.
Concerned about the lichen? I'm not really, like, an expert on the subject, so I don't know if that's actually a concern. I don't really care, to be honest. I'm fine with this. I don't really care. Who gives a... Yeah, people talk about the optics, but what you have to understand is that, like, oftentimes when you do a protest, the goal is to win people's sympathy. That's not what Just Stop Oil is doing. They're not...
Which, I would argue is kind of the issue. Like, I get the whole idea of making people outraged about things, but, like, I mean, when you want that to always be productive, like, I mean, that's kind of my thing. Like, I'm not really against it, especially considering it's cornstarch and it's just going to wash off, like, whatever. Like, it's not some moral argument thing. It's more or less just like a why not hit the banks or or like a oil refinery plant that's probably like 10 miles away from where the stone headed. It's like, I don't know, it's like, to me that seems like it would be a way better use of those tactics more so than just this,
Like
because you
win
still get
people's sympathy
outraged,
for.
but at the same time at least people are like, oh, well, why are they hitting the oil refinery? Why do they keep hitting, people's private limousines or their private jets and stuff like that? And I mean, there's more of like a source to the conversation at that point.
Their org. They're just trying to get as many like eyes on their actions as possible, so people are talking about it. It's a different strategy. It's a purely like it's not like the civil rights movement or whatever, where it's like, oh man, you got a lot of attention by like I don't know, doing a mass shooting at a white citizens council meeting or whatever, but that wasn't like good optics, man, or whatever. It's like that they were trying to win sympathy. This, on the other hand, it doesn't work though. Well, the problem is that at the moment, literally nothing works. So they're clout chasing. No, that's not what I said. I said they're getting attention, which is a strategy one might employ in some contexts. No, that's not clout chasing.
I would argue, at least when it comes to Just Stop Oil, they kind of are. I mean, because every time they do something, usually, like, I mean, a lot of it does predominantly come from a sense of just like cloud chasing and just trying to be like, see, we're doing stuff, like we're making people bad and doing stuff. See, aren't we good? And it's like, not really. And that, and also, it's like, I mean, it's literally ran and funded by like fucking oil heiresses and like and shit. Like, I mean, so like, I mean, you have like Arizona oil industry like back in the shit. So it's like it's literally meant to just rile up just people to be pissed off and shit. And not about like, oh, because like the climate, this and that or whatever, but because of the action specifically. That's kind of the point. That's why it's not really a moralizing thing for me. It's more or less of just the whole fundamental like root behind this. It's the reason why this shit's happening.
They're just trying to get a lot of attention. Cloud chasing would be if they were like, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, yo. Anything for views, running out there to Stonehenge, like pissing on it and going like, yo, 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 make sure to like and subscribe for more crazy stunts like this, yo. That's
I want to see if what anyone else in here might have said something. Let's see, 3 kilograms of corn flour on some old rocks, real shit. Not the lichen. Especially chew dust, sticky as it is, it should wash off in the rain. Well, yeah, because it will. It's also just a center for mice. Just a center for mice. Okay, I mean, sure. I feel like there's probably going to be replies on this one. People that it drove away already had the cause in the rearview mirror. It just makes them look back. Cares about just only different. They actually cares about something impactful. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the point. Which a lot of different environmental activists do this type of shit. Like they will go after like pipelines and like chain themselves up to like like trees and shit. Like, I mean, like that. In a way, it ends up being a lot more meaningful. I feel like no one's really mentioning the fact that like
that's a me thing.
I feel like no one's really mentioning about like the fact that there is like oil money that is backing this group and shit, because like that has been mentioned many times you in a lot of cases whenever this shit happens from this organization, and it's kind of interesting that it's not being brought up here.
I bet you didn't know about the lichen before. Oh yeah, all the people who are about like talking about the lichen don't give a fuck about it. They're just mad at the protesters. Top comment on r/UK about this was, why aren't they targeting oil companies? The people who say that are disingenuous little weasels, because if Just Stop Oil did engage in principled acts of ecological terrorism, the r/UK post would be like, what the You can't do that. That's bad optics. They're lying.
Well, it's a fucking Reddit. Like, dude, equate any actual like meritable like ideas of strategy about these type of fucking things. Has fuck all. When it comes to any merit online, as far as I care, or at least especially when it comes to like a fucking subreddit. I could give a shit like what some weird dork on subreddit says.
Okay, that's the whole point. It's always with the liberals, the civility protests, right? It's always like, oh, you can't do X, you have to do Y, but then you do Y, and they're like, why the do Z? And you do Z, and they're like, well, don't do anything, you know? It's totally disingenuous, you know. Otherwise, they wouldn't be whining about this in the first place. You really think people who are pretending to be upset about this are going to approve of ecological terrorism? It's concern trolling. It's totally disingenuous. Your chat is full of them. Yeah, I know. Pretty sure the founder was the daughter of some big oil guy. Yeah. I've seen these attacks before. This was more disingenuous.
I mean, these things aren't disingenuous. These are things that actually are worth a fucking concern. Like, and yeah, okay, so someone at least in the live chat brought it up, but it's just like, yeah, like, I mean, you have, someone who's a part of an oil family who's, like, invested in this type of shit. Granted, it could just be off the fact that they're like, yeah, I don't like, having my name, attached to this, and I want to, like, do something meaningful with it. I mean, sure, it could just be due to the innocent empathy graces of, like, an elite rich, like, heiress, to the oil industry. But I highly doubt that. In fact, I think it's kind of silly to think otherwise, honestly. I mean, because like they have a vested interest in their investments and in their wealth. Like they have no care about like the actual environment and the impacts of such. They don't care.
This horseshit. There are people who say that Just Stop Oil is funded by big oil companies. It's not. What they actually mean is like some people in the group have some tenuous association or there's some trust that they took from at some point. It's not. It's like
I mean, that's a very loose way to put it, but okay, whatever.
is everywhere, man. That's how capital cycles. It's like how literally everything is tied to Soros via 6 degrees to Soros, you know? Like that's how money works. Like if you're really wealthy and powerful, your money is everywhere, caught up in trusts and nonprofits that spread across the world, you know? You invest everywhere. That's how it all works. No, Just Stop Oil's fine, you know? They get real zesty. They're zesty boys, and we support them for it, okay? Yeah, Annie, to me, it kind of feels like a last gasp effort anyway, because nothing is working anyway, and the planet's dying anyway. So, like, who gives a history is going to vindicate.
I mean, so I kind of agree with that, at least. Like, I mean, that's why I'm not a moralist about this fucking thing. Like, it's like, I mean, whatever. I just kind of find, like, the organization itself to be questionable. But, I mean, when it comes to, like, let's use the anti-tax on our son kind of shit, like, I don't give a fuck about that necessarily. Like, I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, whatever. Like, I mean, just, like, I would just say be wise about it. That's it. Like, if you want to go out and put cornstarch over the fucking Stonehenge, whatever. I mean, it's going to wash off anyway, I don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't. Like, so it's, like, I just, for me, I kind of get a little annoyed with this idea where it's just like, we have to just strictly look at, the framing of, like, as like environmental activism as like some absolute, over this type of shit when it just isn't.
In real life. Unironically, yeah. Unironically. Oh, we'll talk about Mecca.
Well, looking at the big stories of the day,
these guys are annoying pussies. The Just Stop Oil guys, how are they annoying pussies? They're like facing jail time because they care about the issue.
Canadian writer, broadcaster, Stephen Allen is with us, chewing the fat on these. I guess we should mention, Steve, that Stonehenge became the latest victim of the Just Stop Oil cool cats who went orange bound with their powdered.
The most viral voices in the discourse right now are climate deniers like Dankula. Yeah, like, do you think Count Dankula would be in favor of, like, I don't know, eco-terrorism or whatever? The people who are against...
No. Like, none of these weird, like, climate denialists are, going to be in favor of this shit because they think these people are a bunch of, like, psychotic hippie nutters or whatever the fuck. Like, I mean, like, no shit. Duh.
These Just Stop Oil guys are the same people who are against all other forms of progressive protest. It's not like it's turning liberals against climate change or whatever. What does Stonehenge have to do with fossil fuel? It's literally just about getting attention, getting people angry. It's not about stopping Stonehenge from emitting methane or whatever.
Because it doesn't.
Heck it is. Well,
I mean, it's literally all it is. Just simply just a target. That's it.
A type of Dulux that this stuff can be cleaned off. I think that's their kind of moral selling point on these things.
Is there actual utility here? I see most people call us out now. Okay, here's a really good litmus test. If the people calling it a psyop are against the thing they're protesting for anyway, you probably shouldn't believe them. Like, if you see a bunch of people going, man, this is a psyop to make us not care about climate change, and the people saying that already don't care about climate change, you should probably ignore what they're saying, you know? Because they say that shit anyway.
But they've just been arrested.
Yeah, plenty of people will take advantage of shit, especially the like weird like lib fucks. I'll be like, oh yes, this idea that it's like yes, it is a thing that's happening. Of course, we can acknowledge it, but well, I mean, come on, we can't be too radical about these things. I mean, it's an incremental process, and there's always a thing that's happening. Like, I mean, they won't like consider any form of like action as like meritable because it's like one of those things where you have to just like slowly just let it happen over time, and just kind of like literally just be like a soft belly about it essentially. Like, because I mean that's really what it comes down to. It's not actually like taking any sense of awareness or any actual like addressal of fundamental action that needs to be taken for something like this. That's why like I don't give a fuck about the Stonehenge or any of this type of shit with this type of thing. I just think it's kind of a little amusing.
Arrested, decorated those stones, historic area. We don't want to see this. Are they gaining?
We don't want to see this. This is inconvenient for us. This is a mild inconvenience.
We don't like it because it, makes us have to talk about things and stuff. And, I just would rather let it just be a thing and not care about it. It's like, whatever. Like, I mean, I love just the weird, like, sophistry of it. It's like, oh, it's just such an inconvenience. I don't like to see it. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Look at orange cornstarch until the rain, which is like every 4 minutes in this area.
Anything? Does anybody sympathise with them over this?
Well, they're certainly gaining anything. Sympathise, I'm not sure, but it works, doesn't it? There's a problem. We're talking about it now. I mean, in this particular one, it's before the solstice, so this is when Stonehenge heads up to being a bit more on the news agenda. I feel sorry for the Druids. If ever there's a group of people that want to use much oil, all they want to do is worship the pagan.
I feel like the Druids.
I don't think I don't think the Druids give a fuck one or the other because they're not around anymore.
Probably be in favor of a lot of militant activism to protect the environment.
And God's naked. Is that asking too much?
It's a good point, actually, isn't it? Yeah, you're going for the wrong target there, really.
But this is why it works.
See, going for the wrong target there. Okay, so do you think this suit on Talk TV would be in favor of them like doing eco-terrorism against BP, British Petroleum? Like, think.
I'd be fine with it
for a second.
In Minecraft.
Why is this guy like, oh man, they went after the wrong guys? Do you think he'd be in favor of them going after the right guys? No, it's a completely disingenuous, like, bullshit, like, thought-terminating cliche. Totally disingenuous.
These protests work because of the incongruity between the protest and the target. Because then it's so easy to do an hour of phone-in radio saying, oh, they've destroyed one of the paintings that we've heard of, or they've tried to attack something that's nothing to do with oil. And it raises the profile. Meanwhile, there are some genuine protesty people writing letters to the government. I can't even name them, to give you an example.
Yeah, these guys' strategy is really effective at getting attention. Meanwhile, the real good protesters, whose names I don't know and don't achieve anything, the real protest is when you do stuff that doesn't make a difference, Whereas
I mean, that's like, I like kind of like this weird sense of, mix of like, well, real good protesters I can't even name because, they're just very peaceful, don't really barely do anything, essentially. It's like, that's not protesting then. That's basically just slacktivism. Like, I mean, to do actual good protest is, to, maybe throw a little cornstarch on Stonehenge or, put a, like a cream pie all over a rich billionaire outside of his fucking, docked yacht that's about to board or some shit. You know what I mean? It's like doing shit like that. I mean, so it, like I said, at least, when it comes to the actual protest itself, whatever. It's just about, like, I mean, what's this, like, to me, I just hate, like, the, kind of, like, the weird moralizing bullshit. And I just find it very questionable with the organization itself, more than anything else. But whatever. I mean, there's plenty of other climate movements that do exist anyway.
Effective bad protest is when you do stuff that instantly makes national headlines, international headlines, That's incredible. Like, they're giving the game away, dude. They're literally, he's explicitly stating you should stay quiet and do stuff that doesn't work and do stuff that doesn't get you noticed. They're not even.
Just do like phone calling, and stuff. Like, just call your politicians and email them a bunch. That's protesting.
Hiding that.
Of the people who are doing things the right way because they don't have the profile.
Yeah.
What we should do, if you're really against them, is say a protest group.
Remember when Just Stop Oil sprayed orange paint all over the windows of that of the car dealerships, and people still reacted exactly the same way? Remember this?
And I thought this was some good shit. It's like, I remember this, and I thought I was like, fuck yeah. See, this is like shit I would certainly love to see way more often. Like, fuck Ferrari, fuck them Bentleys. They have some orange paint.
Ferrari, Bugatti, and Bentley aren't like legitimate targets for climate change activism. People acted exactly the same.
Of course they are.
Exactly the same. And all the same conservatives were like, maybe they should go after the real targets. What do you mean, dude? It's Ferrari. You're telling me these guys aren't? Yeah, it's all concern trolling. Rather than owning up to their real position, which is that they don't care that the planet is dying, they would rather fall back on the disingenuous tone policing of the way in which people do protest. Thank you.
Which, granted is annoying, but that's why I only, kind of save that shit when there's like something that actually is egregious. Like, where, you got, I'm trying to think of an example. Fucking, like going to a, some sort of a, office building, and then just like, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have said an example, but fucking, doing some crazy shit like that, like where you got like the boomstick and a bunch of like dynamite or something like that, go in an office building and like go fucking, GTA mode, you know what I mean? It's like, that I think would be like some pretty insane kind of legit shit that, probably shouldn't be going down. But this type of stuff, yeah, I'm fine with it. Fuck, I'm even fine with like infrastructure being fucked up a little bit when it comes to that too, to a certain extent. Like, you got like pipelines under construction. Well, hey, be a shame if like, the other half of it that's over there that's, been completed a month ago, suddenly just got all the bolts, removed. Can't find them. Now you got to replace them because now all that shit just got knocked down. Oops. Looks like we delayed that pipeline for a while.
Hey, Mario, for the link.
Attack Stonehenge, not use their name like they used to do with terrorists.
So, that's a good point. If you, when you watch a football match, if somebody does something silly like runs across the pitch naked, they don't show that, of course. So the cameras cut away unless they get it slightly wrong. I was at a match a couple of years ago. Somebody threw like a sort of a rucksack or something into the middle of the field. I remember the United player picking it up and taking it off. And
what are we on about?
All about? I'll watch.
Yeah, wait, what?
Tonight, and I'll be able to, see the bigger picture. And of course, it wasn't on Match of the Day. He didn't see any of it. It's as if it never happened. It wasn't referred to. Didn't need to be. Maybe we.
What the is this guy yapping about? People.
Yeah, what the fuck is what? I'm lost.
I love talking about shit like that. Literally, what is this guy talking about?
Need to go more in that kind of space, because I don't think these guys, I was saying this to Julia a little earlier, Steve, and you might disagree with this, but I think this and some of the, ban this company or ban this book festival because they've got connections to Israel because somebody's brother's.
Oh, look at that, guys. Wow, the conservative news outlet starts drawing comparisons to the BDS movement here. That's crazy.
Curious how that works out, huh? Like, after a random ramble of nonsense later, he starts, equivocating this all to, like, well, like, it's starting to sound like, these, like, anti-Semites, I say, when it comes to Israel, where they got these radicals talking about boycotting and things and such.
I wonder if it's all part of, like, a synchronous, manufactured consent push from the far right, the military-industrial complex, the oil industry and everything. Like, I wonder,
Nah, definitely not.
once went to Tel Aviv for a weekend stag night. So therefore we mustn't allow a load of people to congregate because it's by implication or by extension they are supporting the Israeli regime. I think all of
Because they are.
these people are actually...
That's the point, you dipshit. You fucking moron. That's literally the point.
Really just sort of arch anti-capitalists. That's what I sense.
It's beyond parody. It's like he's making the argument for, like, I could literally say, like, all these arguments are coming from a place of fundamental, like, reactionary propaganda. Like, none of these are and he's just admitting it. He's just like, yeah, I think the real problem with these protests is that they're too effective, they draw too much attention, and they're backed by, like, anti-capitalist sentiments. Like, oh, is that true? Is that true?
Because if so, then, the inconvenience and the truth of having these, sentiments being pushed into my face, I say, and such, that is not allowed, and, it's like, we ought to, as news stations, not be able to, show that, and pretty much make it look like it's as if it never even happened, and doesn't even need to be referred. Yes, what, tut. Oh my god, dude. Ugh. Man, the propaganda about shit like this is fucking wild, to be honest. Like, I mean, I will admit. Like, I mean, I could have, like, reservations about, like, an organization, or something, but that doesn't, make it an absolute when it comes to activism or, just, like, climate change awareness and shit. Like, it just simply doesn't. Especially when you got people on the ground that, will, do things, within their name and don't have attachments to that. Like, I mean, it's kind of like with the BLM thing, right? It's like you had, like, the whole movement itself, and then you had, like, an organization that was kind of like a, like, pretty much treated like a company or whatever the fuck. Or some shit like that. So it's like, you had, like, different wings of, like, the whole movement, basically, where some elements were just kind of taking the namesake, but, not actually, doing things in principle, that, would be about that movement, right? So it's like, I mean, it's like that happens all the time. Honestly, it's not exactly a new thing. Why, like, when people do shit like this, whatever. Like, I just kind of, like, find it, like the just up a little, like, organization itself to be kind of suspicious. Because I do think there are elements about, different tactics that are kind of psyopy in a sense, but shit like this I don't think is. I think these are just, genuine activists that are out there, and decided to do this and said, fuck it. I don't blame them.
That's crazy. You're telling me there's an overlap between people who are anti-fascist and anti-capitalist and people who want to, like, not see the planet be destroyed? That's crazy.
Shocker, wow. It's as if there's like a holy trifecta, of that. And they call them lefties.
Going on here. It's a form of political protest. They can't find it in the Labour Party.
Vosh, that's partly the point. It makes people say that going after the oil companies directly is the right move. It forces the opposition into the correct position. It is true that stuff like this does tend to make people get really masked off really quickly.
They can't really find it.
Yeah, it's insane. It's just yapping.
And being angry and protesting against stuff is what it's all about.
They certainly get to have that cathartic look.
All these radical lefties and these hippy-dippy, dorks and shit, all they want to do is just simply just protest stuff. Oh, this ain't woke enough. The climate's doing this. Oh my goodness, the sky is cloudy today. Oh, what else will they protest? Oh my goodness.
Aren't we so good? I mean, I suppose everyone thinks their ends justify the means, and they never do, really. If you want to do a good protest...
Orange cornstarch on the rock is not justified by the potential not having the planet be destroyed, guys. Okay? It doesn't matter if the sea levels rise, as long as the rock stays safe.
As long as Stonehenge is all cool, then we're all cool. You know what I mean?
Have a means that breaks the law, because you're going to turn some people off. But within their group, within their demographic, I'm sure they can easily pat themselves on the back saying, look how good we're being, trying to achieve our goal. I just think the way that we're allowing it to happen, I'm all in favour. People need the right to protest. I'm not in favour of what the government brought in with, if you've got 3 flyers, you can get locked up for a weekend. But that's when people should be sticking to the rules of protesting. We are given the ability to protest, not break the law. And that is the fine line.
Yeah, I don't know.
Notice how they have not yet mounted a single actual argument against what the Just Stop Oil protesters did. All they're doing is like eulogizing the importance of being quiet and ineffective and civil, while also saying like,
which basically is just like slacktivism and essentially saying, be quiet, shut up, essentially in a nutshell. Like, and it's just like a bunch of moralizing, grandstanding, liberal shit, really. That's just what it is. Like, and that's why, especially from the get-go, I'm like, I don't care about the moralistic shit. Like, that's, and it's never where it comes from for me. I mean, granted, like, would I have settled with Stonehenge, throwing cornstarch on that shit? Nah. I mean, I would have went for something else, but whatever. I mean, hey, if the whole group doing that, then fuck it. All right, I guess we're hitting Stonehenge. It's like, all right then. So I don't know. Like for me, that's never been the issue. Like, and if anything, like honestly, I'm actually okay with it to an extent. I mean, shit, it does get national attention or international attention, I guess. And also, it pretty much like does bring the mask off on a lot of fucking people about this type of stuff. I mean, because it's one thing to like have like criticisms or reservations about certain elements of different like organizations or of a movement, but it's another thing to just do this weird moral grandstand shit where you pretty much like move the goalposts to the point where they're just sitting there and being quiet, holding a sign, and just not saying a word. It's like that ain't protesting.
The real problem with this is that it's part of a synchronous effort to oppose capitalism. They're just being so masked off about it. It's like not even. It's genuinely crazy. Like what are you doing, man?
I know the compound of their powdery orange stuff, but I'm assuming it would be. Somebody told me it's legally checked, so they can't be accused of vandalism because you could just throw a bucket of water over it and it would come off. I'm not sure that fully sticks because I've seen some pretty horrendous damage on buildings that took an awful lot of effort to get it off, even if it was washable, if that makes sense.
From cornstarch?
From corn? Yeah, what?
Spraying some building, probably for some capitalist reason. I remember what
these dudes are literally the capitalist pig. These guys are literally.
Well, yes, I'm sure they got like some reason about capitalism or whatever that they're doing this over, but I'm sure if you kind of like, look at the compounds of what they're using and the chemicals, and I'm sure it varies from, protest to protest. Dude, they are literally just like the fucking rich, like, top hat wearing fat cats from the Gilded Age, bro. They even sound like it, too. They literally sound like fat cat rich elite fucktards, bro. Ugh.
What's Porky? They're literally Porky, man. They're literally like, oh, these protests, probably some capitalism thing. Like it's like you're simplifying the discourse. You're cutting out the middleman. You're making it incredibly clear what this is all about. You're so direct.
Watching it, thinking they're getting good coverage. Like I've got a garden fence that needs creosoting. If ever they want to break out and make some side money, I would hire them to do that.
Yeah, I'll help you with your fence, Steve. I don't mind a bit. Well, the creosoting is a bit like jet washing, isn't it? It's a good idea for 5 minutes. You get to panel number 3 and you think, why did I start this job? But maybe the kids over there at Just Stop Oil are the people to help. And let's move on to this final story as well.
Is that it?
This is a good reminder, really, of what we're talking about. The Prime Minister of the day, he was Boris Johnson, announcing this.
I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must
Oh my god. Well, hi.
home.
Okay. And so they're done with that bit. I don't know. I think it's just important to remember, like, what the people who talk down Just Stop Oil are actually like,
A bunch of weird rich elite scum that are just a bunch of fucking, like, actual, like, top hat wearing, oh gosh, let me adjust the monocle. Fucking weirdos, dude. Man, fucking Streamlabs. Goddamn Streamlabs, man. Oh, always gotta fuck up occasionally, doesn't it? Ay. Goodness gracious. I know I was wanting to get a little food later, but I mean, jeez, I want to at least, like, like, maybe look at another little thing first. I mean, let's check out one more little thing. Yeah. So, well, I'm sorry. What a little fucking absurdity is going on for today. You know, what's Kyle got? What's Kyle got going on for this fine day? Let's see. Wait, Temple goes off on Nick Fuentes? Huh?
The girls are fun.
Okay, well, wait, I paused that at a very inconvenient phrase. Was that the girls are fucking or fighting? Huh? What? Oh boy. What are the girls fighting about this time?
Y'all, the girls are fighting. So here we have Tim Pool, and he's going to take some shots pretty directly at Nick Fuentes. So as you all know, Nick Fuentes is the Groyper guy. He's pretty openly a Nazi. I remember when he went on Alex Jones' channel and he debated him on whether or not Hitler was good. Alex Jones took the, no, Hitler is not good position. And Nick Fuentes...
That was like when he was, like, you know, campaign advisor for fucking Kanye, dude. Like, I mean, it wasn't really just between those two. It was more or less just, like, he was kind of there, and then fucking, like, Kanye was just going on deranged ramblings endlessly.
Well, kind of is. So, just so we know who we're dealing with here. So that's who Nick Fuentes is. And Tim Pool, of course, is the guy who likes to fancy himself an above-the-fray, enlightened centrist type. But if you go through his content, overwhelmingly, it's just shitting on the left, shitting on the left, shitting on the left, shitting on Democrats.
And also just being a far-right conspiratorialist and literally thought that Trump would basically have, like, a bigger win than fucking Reagan somehow. And has been an advocate for civil war and shit. The dude is just like a fucking right-wing nut job.
Liberal, shitting on the left. It's one of those guys where, like, he could say, oh, I'm an old school liberal, right? Or I'm a centrist.
And even during the peak of summer, he's still wearing that stupid fucking beanie. It's just like, how the fuck does that guy wear a beanie in the peak of summer, dude?
Write down the policy positions that he claims to believe in. You might do the math on that and go, hey, look, he is a liberal. Or he is a centrist. But there's a difference between what you are nominally and what you are effectively. He could nominally be an old school liberal or a centrist, but effectively, with all of his content and the overwhelming message that's beamed out through his channel, he's just a right-winger. He's just conservative. Okay, so now that we said all that, why are the girls fighting? Well, it's Israel. All right, here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says, independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel. What?
I mean, the average person, like, probably does or doesn't, depending on how they feel about the genocide in Gaza. And also, like, you know, just because you might have, like, some niche weirdo that doesn't like Israel and is a fucking Nazi does not mean that, like, everybody who is, you know, against the state of Israel is a fucking Nazi, you stupid shit. Like, you fucking dumb pissant, like, you fucking real.
What does that mean? The average person likes Israel. Okay. Do they like the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in lobbyist money spent by Israel in this country? Do they like that? Do they like that we keep sending them money and weapons all the time, endlessly, as they carry out a brutal assault on Gaza? Do they like that?
No,
what does it mean?
I don't.
Oh my god. Tim has been weird on this issue of Israel. It's been very strange to watch. It's like he tries to not take a position and not piss people off, but then eventually he feels like he has to take a position, and then he kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. All right, one more time from the top. Here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says, independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel. They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one.
Independence from Israel. Now, of course, when Nick Fuentes says that, what he means is there's a satanic cabal of Jews running the world. And that's...
Which is fucking psychotic and insane, which, you know, is why, you know, these weird Nazi fucks, you know, shouldn't be equated to anything about Israel as far as I'm concerned. Like, they have no merit in the actual fucking conversation. Like, They're just a bunch of weird whack-a-mole fucking religious / like far-right nutters. Like, fuck them. Like, I mean, if we're actually going to have a conversation on whether, like, you know, there's merit to, you know, like to the state of Israel, especially considering the, you know, genocide in Gaza, like when it comes to, like, you know, the endless funding via AIPAC and like the, you know, fucking endless, you know, unequivocal fucking support, you know, that our politicians and our government does, then it's like, well, yeah, you know, people are going to have kind of a fucking problem with that. You know, especially people that are privy to these, you know, when it comes to like war, corruption, and, you know, and manufactured consent to, like, you know, swing a population to be in favor of very heinous acts. Like, there's, you know, fundamental fucking difference, because, like, there's, you know, fundamentally a major difference between criticizing a nation state versus, you know, like having a fucking weird, you know, gripe about like an entire ethnic group of people.
Actually, not true, right? But if you mean independence from Israel, as in stop with all the AIPAC money, stop with all the Israel lobby money, stop with them buying our politicians in the same way that the Saudi lobby buys our politicians, in the same way that the NRA buys our politicians. Do people want independence from Israel in that respect? Absolutely they would. They don't want independence from any fucking foreign government that's spending a colossal amount of money to control our politics.
They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one. The other big issue is that a lot of Christians and a lot of evangelicals want us to help Israel because of the Holy Land.
Take that one step further, Tim. Why else? Why else?
Yeah, like, why else would they do that if it wasn't for the idea that Jesus would return? It basically kind of caused, like, an entire fucking, like, utter theocracy of Christendom, essentially. Like, I mean, there's a whole fucking, like, you know, movement behind this whole idea. Like, it's not just a, you know, some sort of, like, a silly little, like, oh, well, you know, we're just supporting, you know, the state because, like, you know, we want, like, you know, so Holy Land for all the Jews to live in. It's like, that's not what it's about. I mean, to Christians it kind of is, but only on the opposite is that, you know, Jesus comes back and basically, you know, forcibly converts all of them, you know, into Christianity, or they're going to go to hell. So it's just like, I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, like fundamentally when you kind of start extrapolating, especially Christian evangelical Zionism, it ends up being also shockingly kind of anti-Semitic.
Evangelical fundamentalist Christians want us to help Israel because they think that's where the end times is going to be ushered in. That's where the apocalypse, that's where Armageddon is going to happen. What's going to happen? You're going to have most of the Jews get murdered, and a small percentage of them get to go up to heaven. But the only reason they defend Israel so vehemently is because they think Israel needs to have all of the territory in order for Jesus to come back. And then most of the Jews can be killed, and they'll support it, and only a small percentage will get into heaven because they'll convert. Finish that thought. Don't make it sound so benign.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle pretty much like summarized it too.
Don't make it sound so benign. Oh, Christians support, evangelicals support it because it's the Holy Land. Goes a lot deeper than that now, doesn't it? They have some end times fucking insane fantasy, mystical bullshit, which is a cynical reason for supporting Israel. And by the way, like I said, they want most of them to die anyway when push comes to shove. All right.
It's fundamentally a death cult. Like, it's a very psychotic death cult reason for it.
My attitude is this. My guy, I'm trying to go to people and say, America first. And the first thing that pops in their minds is Nick Fuentes hates Israel.
When you say America first, the first thing people will think of is Donald Trump. That's what they'll think of.
And also, like, far-right extremism that tends to be backed by that type of idea. There's a fucking fucker. Ah! Didn't get it. Man, fucking fly, dude. Got another one of these fat fucks. But it sounds like, you know, like one of these, you know, right-wing, you know, America First motherfuckers, you know. It's like they're pretty much about as annoying as a fucking fly and like to buzz around you occasionally and shit. You know, annoying them with their bullshit. While also being a fucking, you know, crazy right-wing extremist, you know, trying to usher in like a Christian white holy state of America or whatever the fuck.
The more pure among the America First crowd would say something like, yeah, let's stop spending money on wars and stop giving all these countries our money and let's focus on ourselves here at home. What are you talking about? Somebody says America First, the first thing they think of is not fucking Nick Fuentes. You're way too online, son. Not even close.
I mean, no shit. Like, I mean, yeah, like, it's, like, I mean, to be so terminally online to where it's like, oh, America First, Nick Fuentes. Is, like, most people barely know, like, who the fuck that is. Like, I mean, like, honestly, like, I mean, even some people I might talk to, you know, about politics with, you know, don't even completely know who he is. So it's just like, I mean, you have to be legit online as fuck, to be aware of that guy.
Who say America First probably don't even know who the fuck Nick Fuentes is. And by the way, Trump himself is a cuck to the Israel lobby. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of Republicans, certainly the elected ones, are cucks to the Israel lobby. And there's some percentage of the Republican voter base that is pro-Israel. But there's also some that aren't. And he's of course, overlooking all of them.
What does that have to do with us securing our borders, bringing jobs back, getting rid of people like Joe Biden, getting accountability for the corruption, cleaning up our streets? No idea. No idea. I believe, whether intentionally or not, it is sabotaging the idea of America First. They take the name, they take the brand, and they taint it. They poison the well. That's why a lot of people accuse him of being a Fed. I don't know about all that. What I can tell you is there's a lot of people who aren't going to say America First because Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message.
No, he's not. Not really. No, he's not, you dumbass. Like, yeah, he's one of the people that take the fucking mantle of it because, he believes in that idea. And arguably, I mean, honestly, strangely enough, believes it more than you. I mean, frankly, funny enough. Because, like, Trump and the Republican Party definitely aren't about being America First. And even, honestly, I ain't, just because, it's just nationalist bullshit anyway. I mean, fuck that shit. Like, nationalism inherently can, be very much like a lead towards fascism, and I ain't about that shit. I'm certainly a lot more of an internationalist on this type of shit, so fuck that. But if we're gonna at least, break that idea down, I mean, technically Nick is a little bit more about that shit than you dumb fuck. I mean, this weird both sides nonsense is just absurd. It really just seems like some weird terminally online rant, honestly, of just, like, some loner fuck. Which, hey, shocker. I'm really being inaccurate with that.
I do get it. Donald Trump pushes that message, too.
What is he talking about? Nick Fuentes is the biggest? That is so not true. He's so online. Oh my God, this is embarrassing to watch.
Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message. Now, I do get it. Donald Trump pushes that message too. But Nick has run this brand. And so what happens is a lot of people are going to begin to...
Yeah, because he likes to, raise a bunch of money with his weird little niche clique of fucking weirdo, insecure dipshits.
See, America First with strict anti-Israel policy. I don't care about Israel.
Really? You have a weird way of showing it.
So, yeah, it seems very strange, being very defensive about them as a state.
Showing it by going on a long-winded, meandering rant about how don't stop being so anti-Israel. I don't care about Israel, but stop being anti. We don't want to associate America First with being anti-Israel. Tim, my guy, Israel, as of this very second, is carrying out a genocide and an ethnic cleansing. The correct position on that is to be anti that. That's correct.
No shit. That, that would, and if anything, that would be, putting a lot of America's money and investment first, if we were to divest entirely from Israel and actually, grow a set of balls about that issue. So weirdly enough, that actually would be, kind of America First kind of, ideas and shit. Where in the fuck, is, this whole weird, defense shit, about, when you're supposed to be an America First advocate here, Tim? You dipshit. It can't, say, oh, well, I'm anti-Israel, but, and I don't give a fuck about it, but please stop being so anti-Israel, okay? It's you can't have it both ways. I
want to be clear. Nick Fuentes does not take the position he takes because, like a lefty, he's anti-genocide, he's anti-ethnic cleansing, he wants human rights for Palestinians. That's not why he's taking that position. He's taking that position because he's anti-Semitic. And he thinks...
It also he has said that, he doesn't give a fuck about Palestinians and he'd kill them all too. He doesn't care about them either. If anything, he honestly thinks it's the enemy eating itself kind of bullshit, if anything. I know, he has, mentioned it before.
There's an evil cabal of Jews running the entire world. And so it's a convenient thing for him to latch onto, right? So it's not coming from a pure place. But let's also be very clear. The idea that it would be a problem for a Republican candidate to say, you know what, we sent too much money and too many weapons to Israel. I think it's time, they take care of it themselves. That's really not our business. The idea that that's a knock against that person? No! Not even close. The only people you'll be pissing off is the extremist, fundamentalist, evangelical Christians who want the end times, and all of the politicians who are bought by the Israel lobby.
And basically just Zionists, which, tend to be a mixture of both of those anyway.
You're going to get staunch disagreement from conservatives who will be like, yeah, I don't know why we do all this foreign aid anyway, right? What a weird segment from Tim Pool.
It means as much to me as Burma and Saudi
Honestly, is it though?
Arabia does. I have questions about our funding of all of these places.
If Tim Pool says, I don't want to fund Israel.
Which, honestly, I find that questionable he even actually believes that in the fucking first place, but okay.
Then what's the point of this fucking segment? Why are you doing such a long segment? All right, one more time. We'll speed it up a little bit. Here we go.
And I think we're wasting money on foreign excursions. Here's the problem. When Nick Fuentes says, independence from Israel, I assure you the average person believes that's ridiculous. They have their audience. The average person likes Israel. They do not agree with Nick Fuentes on this one.
Is he just repeating it?
What does that have to do with us securing our borders, bringing jobs back, getting rid of people like Joe Biden, getting accountability for the corruption?
What a principled conservative would say is those things are linked because we keep sending billions and billions of dollars to Israel when we...
And they'll probably say Ukraine too.
...could be spending it on those things you just listed. That's what a principled conservative would say.
But, honestly, most of them wouldn't really say that, just because a lot of them are pretty pro-Israel due to the, Zionistic tendencies of a lot of conservatives anyway. Like, it might get some, on the sense like, well, as long as we can stop funding Ukraine too on top of that. But beyond that, chances are probably not. Has he actually played, the rest of the little bit of it?
When it comes to Ukraine, it's independence from Ukraine.
That's why a lot of people
declare independence from Ukraine, right? He'd be fine
Ukraine,
making an argument for Ukraine, but in Israel he's not.
Cleaning up our streets. No idea. No idea. I believe, whether intentionally or not, it is sabotaging the idea of America First. They take the name, they take the brand, and they taint it. They poison the well. That's why a lot of people accuse him of being a Fed. I don't know about all that. What I can tell you is, there's a lot of people who aren't going to say America First. Because Nick Fuentes certainly is the most famous person pushing that message.
Which
now,
he's not.
Donald Trump pushes that message too. But Nick has run this brand. And so
Which Donald Trump has, successfully ran a way bigger fucking brand campaign and way longer than Nick Fuentes ever could dream of. So, this doesn't make fucking sense, you weird fucking schizo.
A lot of people are going to begin to associate America First with strict anti-Israel policy. I don't care about Israel. I don't want to fund Israel. It means as much to me as Burma and Saudi Arabia does. I have questions about our funding of all of these places.
The Republicans are in a really weird place right now, and I'll explain why.
It's because they got, these wing of, legit right-wing fucking far-right Nazis and, extremists and shit within their movement. And they have, these more moderate, I just want to be kind of fiscal conservative types as well, and just the old guard. You got, they have, a little bit of infight going on between, these MAGA far-right extremist types, and, the old guard, essentially. And, moderates in between, too, to an extent. So it's just, you got, this little back and forth infight and shit that they're having, and they're kind of finding themselves in a kind of a hard rock, like a rock in a hard place, essentially. Hey, Dems are, too. If anything, I think, the fact that there's, infight on both sides of the duopoly kind of shows that, really does show that people are just not satisfied with, the state of affairs on either end of the spectrum. And that, in a way is kind of good, but also at the same time, it's kind of bad considering that you get, the rise of these weird far-right fascist fucking Nazi freakazoids, that do kind of prop their heads and lurk their fucking weird slithery snakes, vipers' heads around. So, it's kind of like a give and take, I suppose. Luckily, they're a lot more niche. But, I think at least call it good for now. Come back a little bit later and after I get some food and kind of figure out plans for tomorrow because Mom's birthday, but I'm also fucking working, so I need to kind of figure that shit out. Yay. So, Oh boy, but either way, get some food, figure some shit out, and do a couple more errands, and call it good. So, appreciate it for now, and see y'all a little bit.